Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I have an amazing video for you guys today. We are going to be talking about, what to look for when you're buying a house, right? It's very, very important. Now, I have an article here that we're gonna go over. It's from Yahoo Finance. I will have a link to this article down in the description below. And basically, as we transition from a seller's market to a buyer's market, if you are a buyer, there's things that you need to really take account because they're deal breakers, guys. And I know a lot of us really want to jump into a house and we're willing to overlook things, but now that we're in a buyer's market, things are changing. You're gonna have more options and you have to take note of some of these things that we're gonna look at, because at the end of the day, guys, you're buying an investment and home repairs can be very, very costly. I just want to show you something real quick. This is the Redfin weekly housing market data, and black line right here is 2022, orange is 2021, red is 2020, and blue is 2019. So when I just said, okay, we just transitioned from a seller's market to a buyer's market, that's because of this dip, this hump right here, right? Anything before May was a seller's market. Now we have entered into a buyer's market. Now Now I still believe that it is, we still have a lot more in, I still believe that the prices are still incredibly inflated, but just looking at this chart, the longer that you wait as a buyer, the lower the prices are gonna go down. But when it's a buyer's market, things change, okay? Because you're not gonna have the frenzy that you had in the last 2 years. So now what's gonna happen is houses are gonna sit on the market longer and longer and longer. The nice houses, yes, those sell quick, but the crappy houses, those are gonna just sit and just basically collect dust. And at the end, what's gonna happen is that those crappy houses essentially are gonna bring down the market, the prices of the market, because when something sits out in the market for 6 months and somebody finally says, screw it, I'll take a low ball deal, well, then that lowers the price of the comps in that neighborhood, bringing even the prices down of the nice houses, right? So that's what we're gonna start seeing. The longer houses sit in the market, the better it's gonna be for buyers. So, right, but it just happened, guys. I mean, this was May, right? We're gonna have to wait to see this play out. But here, let me jump into this article because it's really important. Now that it's a buyer's market, guys, don't sit there and skip out on things just because you want to get into a house. When it was a seller's market, people were basically, waiving inspections, waiving appraisals. They were like, I need to get into this house no matter what, because there was a supply issue, there was a supply shortage, and there was way too many buyers, and it was a seller's market. But here's number one right here: faulty foundation. Guys, if you make sure that you have an inspector check the house, right? A good one, someone that you trust. Now your realtor will be able to help you with this. Find someone that's really good. Make sure that you find a realtor that you really connect with, that really has your best interest, that you're just not a sale for them, right? Because they're basically gonna help you find the house of your dreams, and it has to not have a faulty foundation. This could create massive amounts of problems, and fixing these things, it could cost you a lot of money, okay? A lot of money. Foundation problems are pretty much a no-no. Now, out of code plumbing and wiring, okay? This is a problem because essentially at one point things are gonna break. This could cause fires. Bad plumbing could cause leaks in the worst places, right? So you wanna make sure that, you have the inspector go in, check that's what they do. Basically, they check all the wiring, and if the inspector comes back and says there's some Mickey Mouse things being done in the house, guys, go to the next house. It's not worth it. It's gonna cost you a lot more money to fix the wiring the right way than overlooking these things, because remember, at some point, you're gonna have to fix it, and it's gonna cost you double, triple, because they're gonna have to rip everything out and start from scratch the right way. So think about that. Sagging roof, guys. A roof is gonna run you about 20 grand, okay, 10, 20 grand. So you know, this one thing to look at, always look, because if you buy a house and that roof looks like crap, well, very soon you're gonna have to replace that roof, okay? And here's the problem. Bad roofs, they leak. If you live in an area where it rains a lot, right? If you have any kind of leaks, it's gonna go into the attic, it's gonna create mold, it's gonna ruin the inside of your house, it could ruin furniture, it could ruin flooring, it could ruin your walls. I mean, it is a mess. So make sure you have a brand new roof or something that's somewhat new, okay? Because it's very, very important. Septic tank that doesn't pass inspections. Now, I've never lived in an area that has a septic tank, so I don't know exactly what this is all about. I know what a septic tank is. I just don't know, like, I mean, it seems like a huge deal because you could have, I don't really know what kind of problems you would have. So let's see. Some states do not require sellers to have their septic tanks inspected prior to selling, but buyers need to do their own inspection before making an offer. I agree. If they do not, they could be facing costly repairs. Depending on the ground and the space and how the system was installed, it could run you up $25,000 to $75,000. Okay, so guys, please, you know, make sure the inspector comes in and checks the septic tank because that's a lot of money. Could you imagine you move into a house and you gotta drop another $25,000 just to be able to use the bathroom? No, thank you. So be careful with that, guys. Pests and infestations, very bad, okay? Depending if you know, because you can get sick. You can get sick and you don't want that. And they could rip up your house and then it could be a mess. And then, yeah, it's disgusting. You don't wanna be eating, you know, your breakfast with little rodents running around, right? This one, evidence of water damage. This to me is a huge, huge deal, guys. People don't take this as seriously as they should, but there's a thing called black mold, right? Black mold happens when there is, you know, areas where there was water sitting for a long time. And this black mold, if it gets into your lungs, could basically be very, very dangerous. It's very hard to clean. You have to basically take out walls, dry walls, and rebuild. This could also be very costly, but this is a bad thing, guys. You might think, oh, big deal, just put some 409 on it, but no, this is a huge deal. This could make your kids sick. This could just cause massive amounts of problems in your life. So make sure that whatever house you get has no mold. Mold is bad. Neighborhoods you don't like. This goes without saying, but you know, sometimes when you want to get into a house really bad, you're willing to sacrifice where the neighborhood is and whatnot just to get into a house. Guys, when you're buying a house, you're buying an investment. Think about this, okay? Very, very serious. You want to buy a house that is near a very good school district, okay? You want to buy a house that the school district is at least a 9 or a 10. Why? Because that brings up the house values for the entire neighborhood and it makes it a safer place. And if you're thinking, even if you don't have kids, okay, even if you don't have kids, it is still better to live in a neighborhood with a great school district, okay? Because it's gonna make it more attractive. If you ever wanna sell your house, it's going to sell quicker. If you ever want to rent it out, you're gonna have no problems renting it. It's gonna be a lot better. It's gonna be, and I would almost say it's gonna be a safer neighborhood too in some ways. Underground oil tanks, I have no idea what that is. Older houses have some oil tanks, yeah. Make sure you don't buy a house with an oil tank. That seems like a problem. Upgrades done without permits. Now here's a weird part. If you're negotiating with sellers, the home that they don't have. Okay, so sometimes, okay, the truth is you don't totally need permits for every little thing that you do in the house because, you know, it's an extra $500, depending where you live, maybe $1,000 to pull permits. And sometimes, you know, you get a much better deal from the contractor if they could just do it. You know, I'm on the fence on this one. I don't really care. I mean, you could walk and look at a kitchen and see if it, or a bathroom and see if it was somewhat done right. That your inspector will help you out. But yeah, I mean, not everybody that does home remodels uses permits. Natural hazard risk goes without saying. You know, obviously, like when you think about Houston, and you think about, here, let me pull up Houston map real quick. So, sorry about that. So this is Houston right here. The more expensive areas in Houston are over here because they're less prone to flooding. This areas right here, part of Houston, are more prone to flooding. So what you're basically, you're gonna get a better price for the house in, sorry about that. You're gonna get a better price for the houses in these areas because they're generally less desirable because, any season your house could be underwater like this, and think about all the water damage, think about all the headache that things like this cost. So think about that. That's very important. And future local development, this is a big deal. If the community is changing and they're putting high rises in your neighborhoods, I mean, things could go up, but things could go up, things could go down, but just, make sure that any big developments that are happening in that neighborhood. I know when I bought my house, they were rebuilding a mall. So I was like, oh, this is great because when they're gonna redo this mall, it's gonna bring up the housing values of my neighborhood, right? But it's been like construction nonstop, which kind of sucks, but I think it's gonna be better in the end. So I hope that this video kind of gives you a few things. Now that it's a buyer's market, guys, you don't have to settle for just a crappy house. You could buy your favorite house that has none of these problems. I think these are really important problems. I personally would never buy a house that has any of these problems, okay? I just wouldn't. So, because it's gonna, essentially, you think you're getting a good deal, but it's a headache. You're buying a headache, and you don't want to buy somebody else's problem. Okay, that's a good rule of thumb. You don't want to walk in somewhere and say, God, these people did this wrong and that wrong, and your inspector will be able to point things out. And if he's pointing things out, don't just be like, oh, that's not a big deal. Because if he's pointing it out, it is a big deal, right? It is a big deal. It might not be a big deal to you because you might not be that educated on that problem. But if your inspector is pointing things out, ask him questions. Why is that important? How much would that cost to fix? And they'll start giving you some ballpark figures, and they're basically gonna be like, hey, if you want it, it's a big deal. If you got foundational problems, it is a huge deal. Fixing foundation it's a nightmare. So with that said, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and finish this video now. I just wanna say to everybody out there who has been watching my videos and supporting my videos, a huge thank you. Thank you guys so much. You look at all these views that I'm getting, and this video got over 1,000 views, got a bunch of likes, I got a bunch of comments and subscriptions. So yeah, I want to just thank all of you guys out there. Thank you so much for supporting me and supporting my channel. Now, if you are watching this video and you do like my videos and you're not subscribed, don't forget to smash that subscribe button and go ahead and like and leave a comment. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys, and I'll see you on the next video.